Let's talk a little bit about what's happening in China. News wires flashing around 5 o'clock this morning, talking about China apparently extending its ban on Bitcoin and related cryptocurrency technologies. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't think it's really much of an extension. What they're trying to do is clean up the leakages, I think, ahead of the launch of the digital yuan.
Yeah.
And so it's more about that and more about illegal capital flight and just cleaning up their own financial system than it is. I mean, as far as we can see, it's not an outright ban for owning crypto. Really, what they're trying to do is get people stop people moving money outside of the Chinese system. And I understand why that is as well. So it sounds like big news. I don't think it is big news. I don't think it's like China bans everybody ever using crypto ever, and they're all going to go to the gulags if they do. I don't think that's the case. They've also obviously got rid of mining, as we're aware of, and there's probably still, because within one of the statements was another reference to mining, so there's probably still mining activity going on. You know, it's a big country, and so they do want to stop the mining because I believe the stopping of the mining is about both for the green energy part, but really it's about the competition for electrical resources, because there is a scarce supply of some commodities right now, and the last thing they want is to raise electricity prices on the general population.
To bring it back to the numbers, Raoul, I'm looking at the screen here. Bitcoin trading at 42,401. It's only off about 5.3%, 24 hours.
Yeah, it's mainly noise. You get used to this after a while once you've been invested in the crypto space, is that, it's an 86 vol asset currently versus the S&P's like 10. So it's 8 times as more volatile as the S&P. So a 10% move is just basically like the S&P having a 1% move. So it's not really that much of an issue. What is interesting is Bitcoin is very much following, we've talked about this before, its pattern from 2013. And Ethereum is following the Bitcoin pattern from 2017. And things like Solana are following the Ethereum pattern from 2017. And they all kind of suggest that this might be a decent entry point for a large run up to the end of the year. And that's how I'm thinking of this.
Yeah, I'm looking at a calculator here that estimates Bitcoin volatility on a 30 and 60-day basis. Estimated 30-day volatility, 4% daily. Estimated 60-day volatility, 3.7% daily. To your point, noise.
Yeah, and these things are noise. We've just had a decent run up. We've been correcting for the last few days. We had a sharp move, and nobody really knew what the news was. It was probably part of this, and fine. It's kind of normal. I think for most participants are so used to it, and anybody who's been in for a while. I mean, we had a 50% correction already, so this is like, throw me a 20% correction, I don't care.
Yeah. Talking about news cycle related events having an impact on Bitcoin, you had a really impressive tweet storm thread about the remarks by SEC Chair Gary Gensler a few days ago when he came out with some things that seemed fairly bearish, effectively saying, I'm not sure that cryptocurrency as an asset class is going to be constituted in its current form for a very long time. You had some interesting insight about what that might suggest for the longer term, bigger picture, forward structure of markets and regulation in this space.
I think the battle lines are being drawn. All people who are trained in negotiation skills will set the boundary hard in the most extreme they can. All trade negotiations, everything happens that way. And then what happens is you then go to the negotiating table and you're looking for a compromise and you're looking to get over your side of the line. So firstly, there's a couple of battles going on. Gensler has not got the right entirely to regulate crypto. There's the OCC and the CFTC, and maybe even the Fed themselves who are interested in this. So there is a fight within Washington who regulates this. But obviously, if you're the head of the Securities Exchange Commission, then you want the word security to be attached to everything, as opposed to currency, because that goes to the OCC, right? So this is politics, for starters. But the question is, are most cryptocurrencies securities under the definition? And the interview with Michael Saylor that's out on the platform today on Real Vision Crypto We talk about this, and they probably are. And that's what freaks everybody out. Oh my God, it's a security. The security thing is a red herring. Because what does that mean? What it means is to issue things, you would have to have more regulatory red tape. It's very costly to do. If it's a security, you can only issue it to certain people. So what are they going to do? Are they going to go back and prosecute 7,500 people for all of the tokens that have been launched? No, that's ridiculous. Are they going to cherry pick a few and try and take them to court? Yes, that's where the battle starts. What is a security and what does it mean? The end result is going to be a grand bargain, because securities laws written in 1934 are simply not suitable for this current time. And so the securities law themselves will have to change. Whether it's a digital asset law that comes into place or they rewrite securities laws, but that will change. Also, if you think about the political backdrop about the 99% and the 1%, the rich getting richer, if you honestly think it's a good idea to not give the public access to the best investment class in terms of performance the world has ever seen, then you are really making some bad decisions. So what does he want to do? He talks about basically consumer safety. And consumer safety, that's going to be about, I think, the onus has to go on the consumer. You and I can go to Vegas and throw anything on the table and lose it all, everything. We can mortgage the house and do it. No regulation, zero. But heaven forbid if we buy a token, because it might be a scam. Really, if that's the issue, then firstly give people warnings. You know, maybe the exchanges say, if you want to buy this, you have to understand it's a high-risk asset because it's a low market cap, and therefore you should be aware that you could lose everything. That's okay. Risk warnings are fine. But to say you can't take a risk is crazy. This is why Wall Street gets richer all the time, because to get access, you have to do it via a financial institution. It's the same with venture capital. Yes, we can do some crowdfunding stuff now, and it's opened up a bit, but it's still not fully opened up unless you're an accredited investor. So apparently if you have $1 million, you're not dumb money, and anybody less than $1 million is dumb money. I mean, that's insulting to people. What, does money define your ability to understand risk? No. Does it define your ability to take risk? No. What defines your ability to take risk is how much a percentage of your assets you're going to risk in it, which is risk management. Two different things. So all of this is going to have to change. The accredited investor rules, they're going to have to change. Just simply not acceptable to force the millennials, 86 million of them, out of a marketplace because somebody in Washington says, well, they're not safe for you guys, but leave it to us. Let the other guys deal with that, the rich guys and Wall Street, and we'll give you a product after we've layered in some fees. No, just not going to happen. So there is a fight that's going to come. The industry will not accept this, and there will be a compromise, because we know there's KYC, we know there's AML. Those are without question going to happen. Tax compliance without question will happen. And then beyond that, there has to be risk warnings, caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. And there has to be some regulation, some oversight over scams. So there's maybe some way of getting back money and other insights. But for somebody to have, who's got the power, the voice of God, to say that is a scam and that is not a scam? Oh, well, Polkadot, well, that could be a security. You can't invest in that unless you've got $1 million. Or this is just cannot happen. If the US does this, this is the fastest growing adoption of any technology in all human history. There's 150 million people worldwide using crypto right now. By my estimate, we get to a billion people by 2024. If that's the case, then this market is going offshore.